Bill Clinton $1 million in speaking fees over the debate over the pipeline. You know, when you make $130-some million to your foundations, which you know doesn't just go to the Clinton Library, whatever, it goes in their pockets. And then we have Chelsea coming out and saying, but our foundations do so much good for the world. You know, how can anybody see something bad about that? When it lines your pocket, it's not doing good for the American people. And that's what I have to say about the book.
Okay, Mona?
Well, I don't know why you're picking on poor old Hillary. She's the granddaughter of immigrants, and she's poor. So why are you picking on her? Chelsea gets $75,000 to speak about children who have diarrhea. I mean, you know, these people get enormous amounts of money to be paid to speak for people, and people just flock to them to listen to them. I wanted to, talking about the criminality of the Clintons and all the garbage going on in Washington. Today, General Petraeus is in court to get his sentence. He pled guilty to a criminal misdemeanor charge of unauthorized removal and retention of classified material when he talked to his woman friend while writing a book about him. Now, he has to pay a $40,000 fine and has 2 years of probation, but the judge is not committed to that. The judge actually can give him more than that and can give him prison time. This is a man who is an American hero, who served his country well, who happened to just gab to his girlfriend, and he's getting all this kind of punishment while these Clintons go around just taking all this money and just bellyaching about everything. There's not any justice here. I wanted to switch for just a little bit. I want people to understand about what's happened in this country as far as politics go, because people are hung up on these parties. Excuse me just a minute. I've been yelling so much my throat is going. Today, you cannot think party anymore. You cannot think Democratic Party anymore, Republican Party anymore 100%, because things have changed. I have seen it in my lifetime, how things have changed. What we used to consider to be the liberal way of thinking, which was a flower child type of thinking about love and, peace and no war and that kind of thing, and people's rights and gay freedom and all that stuff. That was a liberal stance. Well, the liberal stance now has gone to progressive. Progressives now are more than liberals. Progressives now want all of the minorities recognized. They're laying down all this political correctness. They're creating all this strife and confusion. They're depending on chaos to destroy us. As Mary knows, and I know because we were in the mental health field, she still is that the American government loves it when our minds and our families are all screwed up, either mentally or on drugs, because we don't have the ability to pay attention to what they're doing. But, that is the progressive thinking. But the progressives even now have gone farther under Obama to where now they're socialistic, Marxist thinking. So from what you used to be a liberal and call yourself a liberal, you can't call yourself a liberal anymore and it be the same. That now is a socialist. A moderate that we used to think was kind of middle of the road, that was like okay with this and not okay with that, but kind of conservative, kind of there, a little bit liberal. Those folks now have moved into the slot of liberalism, and that's where the Republican Party is leaning. They're leaning moderate liberal. They're not anymore that moderate conservative thought that we had at one time. Then we have what the moderates are no longer moderates. What they are social conservatives. Social conservatives find themselves bogged down in social issues, whether or not gay people should get married, or whether or not Joe Schmo should be allowed to sell lemonade on his front lawn or stuff like that. They get bogged down in that kind of thing. So you don't really have a conservative faction anymore like that. The only true conservatives left are constitutional conservatives who want to see that our country continues based on the Constitution as written by our founding fathers. We have to keep that in mind. We can't get bogged down in this other stuff. We have to keep going back to the Constitution. We have to keep forcing our representatives to go back to the Constitution. And I don't mean just those jerks in Washington, D.C. I'm talking local and statewide as well, because those people, they also are making crazy decisions that affect us. Look what happened in California and in Texas. Texas is going nutso with all this crazy stuff going on. But if I could just get people to realize you got to think candidate, not party anymore. One of the things that bothered me in the news this week, and I think that I was reading about it because I was on some of our military and our other groups, is that woman, excuse me, I'm sorry, the woman who was arrested because she was at a protest and she saw them stomping on the American flag. This is a woman that was in our military. She did service in our military. She went and took the flag up, and the police arrested her. She tried to fight them back to tell them what she was doing, but they arrested her and let the protesters continue to stomp on our flag. This is what is wrong in this country. We continue to allow the bad behavior to take place over the good behavior. The other thing, too, that I wanted to bring up is the issue with the Cuban situation, because I for one, am very upset about the fact that Obama has gone and made amends with Cuba, and that there's just the Democratic side has gone down there, and they're trying to bring products and tourism and everything to bring up the economy. Now, I don't know whether I'm being heard or not. I'm getting a note said I'm not being heard, but I'm going to say it anyway. What Obama wants to do is Obama wants to close Guantanamo. He doesn't want to close Guantanamo because it's unfair to the terrorists that are there. He wants to close it because he wants to give it back to Cuba. One of the agreements when they did the announcement in December of 2014, Cuba had 3 demands, and the most serious one was they wanted to end the lease. We leased that land from them. They wanted to end that. And the second one is they want that land returned to them. And Obama's plan is to do exactly that. He's going to empty up Guantanamo, then he's going to let the Cubans take it back. Well, living on that base are Cubans who have been living there for safety because their lives have been threatened. Anyway, there's just a whole lot of stuff going on, too, about other things that I'll bring up on the next one because I know other people have things to say. But this country, we hear you and we agree with you, is in a mess.
It is a mess. Well, we're talking about the Clintons, and this week Hillary was quoted as saying the Bible's very important to her. I don't think she's ever cracked one open, to tell you the truth. I don't think she knows anything about the Bible. And I bet if you asked her where Isaiah was or Jeremiah, she'd have to thumb through there to find one. But I don't think she's read the Bible. I'm pretty sure she doesn't know what it says. But then when her daughter said, we need to crown her mother because it's what she's due. Well, you know what? I'd like to crown her, all right. But I'd like to crown her in a different way entirely. But let me tell you something. We don't want a Clinton we don't want a Clinton and we don't want a Bush in the White House. Out of all the people, we got to have somebody besides them. We just don't need it. We don't need those dynasties. But we're talking about the Clintons and how they walk the line. Actually, they're completely immoral. They're completely depraved. They just get a pass from everyone. There's nothing about them that has redeeming features. They don't care about little people. Her van driving it's insane. I can't imagine. It's a ploy to get your attention, to get your sympathy. There's nothing about her that's interested in the small people. We, the people, don't matter to these elites. And the elites want to rule the world, and they want all of us little peons to just disappear. So this Clinton cash, I hope this book really, really does well in the American public. I hope it does. And then, of course, this week we had terrorists, homegrown terrorists. I can't believe that there's a woman in Alabama that joined ISIS so she could tell ISIS how to kill Americans. Gee whiz. See, this is what's wrong, because they were not taught patriotism in school. They were not taught God. They were not taught that our rights come from our Creator, our God-given rights. And that's what they're missing in schools now. So when we talk about that, and something that came up this week is that 69% of Americans don't want any more aliens. Well, that's because they're getting amnesty like crazy, and we've already brought up in this segment how many of those are out to destroy us. They're here to suck off the American teat, and they are sucking us dry. And so there's just too much homegrown terrorism in this country, and they're not being treated like terrorists. They need to be treated like terrorists, and they need to get the death penalty. That's all there is to it. You're not going to reform them. They need the death penalty. And we are going to take a break real quickly. And at the other side of that, we're going to tell you what's hot and what's not. As according to us, it would affected us this week, and we're going to go into that right now. So enjoy this piece, and we'll see you on the other side with Right Opinions on Spreaker. We'll be right back. And it's not playing. Okay. It's got a low start. Okay. It'll start here in a second. You'll hear it. Here it comes. Nope, not yet. Well, okay. Let's see. It just okay. Let's see if we can play it now. Nope, it doesn't want to play. Huh? Okay. Well, so much for that. We were going to take a break. How about I'll play something that we didn't get to hear entirely a while ago? I'm gonna just do this. All right, here we go. Enjoy. We'll be right back. Well, I thought we were going to be right back. Huh. Okay, nothing's working. So, we're going to just continue the show. Our break didn't work. America the Beautiful. There you go. You sound better than I do. You sound better than I do. All right, let's see if it'll do it now. There we go.